Hi guys, and welcome back to another transfer talk episode. I mean, it's heating up at the moment, so we're just going to get straight into it, guys. It's obviously great to have you on. I'm pretty sure your input will be better than mine because I just can't believe it's finally happening. And Akash, I'm going to start off with you, mate. I mean, it's getting to that stage now for me where I think Jadon Sancho. I don't want to jinx it. Akash, sorry, because we did speak about this last year, last summer, and I was so determined that it was going to happen. So, I mean, can you shed some light on, the deal itself? Do you think it will go ahead? What are the chances of it actually happening?
Hi, Robbie. It's great to be back on the show. Nice to meet Noah as well this time. And with regards to Jadon Sancho, last season, the biggest, block for the deal was that the valuation was way, way beyond what Manchester United were willing to pay. And this summer, it does seem like there's consensus between both the parties. Sancho and his agent really wanted this move all throughout, like because United have been looking at Sancho for a couple of years, and they have intensified their interest over the years. But there was no consensus between Borussia Dortmund and Manchester United, and I think the fact that there was an intermediary involved last summer showed that the clubs were not directly in contact. So, the negotiations were not perhaps transparent throughout. This summer, I think Borussia Dortmund want to sell. Reason being that they do have their financial limitations as well because of the impact of COVID. So they do want to cash in. Jaden always wants Manchester United. That's been made public throughout. And yeah, the deal is extremely, extremely close. It's likely to happen in the next week, perhaps. I would say a good. I think those guessing dates are, purely doing that based on estimation. So it's tough to give you a date as to when it will happen. But the deal is so advanced that it could happen tonight. It could happen a week from now. It just depends on when United wish to get it over the line, but I'm pretty confident that this is going to happen, and it's happening at a very good fee as well. So I'm pretty happy with the overall negotiations that have happened
Yeah,
this
and
time.
Akash, that was literally my next question for Noah, and I was going to ask him. Do you think it will possibly get wrapped up during the Euros? Because obviously Jadon Sancho is on international duty. Yes, he's not played, at all yet. However, I mean, Noah, do you think that will possibly hold it back? Or do you think, the deal will get put through even though he's at the Euros? Because we don't usually see that as much. I mean, we've seen it obviously with Donnarumma, who's going to PSG, but during the Euros, it's usually, international duty. And after it, all the deals happen for the players who have been called up for the nation.
Yeah, no, I think it's an interesting situation. Obviously, as you mentioned, Donnarumma and PSG has been settled, even though Donnarumma was actually playing last night for Italy. So it can occur during the Euros. Obviously, I think the thing with Sancho and his situation, why it might occur during the Euros is because um, you know the personal terms and the agent fees and all that stuff has been agreed quite a while ago. So it's more between Manchester United and Borussia Dortmund, the clubs, to just finalise the actual structure of the payment for the transfer. And I think if they can, as Akash was saying, it could get done tonight, it could get done in a week's time. I don't think that's really going to be affected by whether Sancho is still in the Euros or not. I just think it's between the two clubs and whether they can finally when they can get it sorted. So it could happen during the Euros. Do I think it will? Probably not, because I feel like whilst United will want to try and get it done as quick as possible, they also respect Sancho and they also respect that he is on that international duty, as you mentioned. I don't think they want to disrupt any his focus for England. I certainly don't. I think I want him focused on England as much as possible. But it it could occur. But I think the thing is, there's no rush because everything's already sorted, everything's already in place. So
Yeah, I can't imagine it happening though. Over that this period of time, I think it will
I
happen
think
possibly after the Euros. When Sancho's get obviously less on his mind, he'll be back to his club level. So yeah, it's one of those things where I think it will happen, but it's just a waiting game of when. And Akash, I mean, we'll go back to you and the fact that you've been very active on Twitter as you always are, and you're talking about Samuel Luckhurst, talking about United are making progress on the deal for Rafa Varane from Real Madrid. I was just wondering, and I had this in my head. Do you think that Real Madrid were willing to sell two um, two centre backs, or do you think possibly they'll do everything in their power to hold on to Varane even for one more season? Because it's just not something I could see Real Madrid doing, selling their two starting centre backs in the one window.
This situation is extremely interesting with regards to Rafael Varane because I think he's not offered any clarity to Real Madrid in terms of his contractual, like whether he wants to renew, whether he wants to go. He's still not made it clear, and I think he's in no rush to do so because he feels that he'll decide his future after the Euros. I think Ancelotti coming back is obviously they want him to stay. Real Madrid want Varane to stay, but Varane has apparently made it clear that he wants to leave Real Madrid. As per some reports in Spain, some reports are saying that he's willing to renew, but he wants a certain increase in his financial package. Whether Real Madrid are willing to offer that is another question. I do feel personally that if Varane is inclined to move this summer, Manchester United will indeed be in the they'll be waiting in the pole position to possibly get this done. But
Yeah,
the problem is that they want somewhere between 50 to 60 million, whereas United might not offer that much. Reason being that he's just got a year left on his contract. Madrid and Manchester United don't exactly have the best of relations as well. There is not a lot of positivity, especially after the Super League debacle as well. So I think it just adds on. It just kind of uh, I personally feel that if Real Madrid are willing to sell Varane, they'll try to create a transfer war for him, a bidding war between clubs like PSG, United, just to get as much as they can for the player if he wants to leave. But inclination is that there is a good chance that he leaves this summer. That's what
yeah,
my personal belief is.
and also there's been a comment asking about Camavinga, if he's likely to come to United, possibly Real Madrid. Obviously, this is kind of broken in the last hour or two. Do you believe that there's a possibility of him coming? Do you think his wages will be an issue? Have you got anything to add to that, Akash? I mean, obviously, I know it's very early stages. I mean, I'd love Eduardo Camavinga to play for United. I think he's been amazing for what I've seen of him. And hopefully, if Pogba is moving on, we can get Camavinga instead.
Uh, this is a very controversial topic, and I'll tell you why. Personally, I've been one of the accounts who has always said that, I personally do feel that Pogba is happy at United, and the wages that he wants will not be matched by any other club in Europe this summer. The reason being I'm saying is because people expect Pogba to leave, but there have to be clubs that are waiting for him. And frankly, there's nobody waiting for him right now. His agent is trying to speak to obviously the best of European clubs, but but teams all across Europe are just possibly saying that we would rather sign Pogba on a free than possibly paying a top fee and paying him high wages. So it does seem like that's why United and Pogba have open negotiations with regards to a contract renewal. And I think it's been said that maybe he just ends up staying, and I personally feel that would be a fantastic scenario for Manchester United. Reason being that you won't find a lot of players like Paul Pogba in the market, and it's very difficult to replace him. Even though he has his ups and downs as a Manchester United player, to be to do what he did last season in terms of the level of contribution to the season that we had, he was top drawer for majority of the season. Let's be honest, like in terms of the style of play, in terms of the goals that he scored, some screamers for Manchester United last season. So it's very easy to say that you want Pogba to leave, and his agent will obviously want to say he wants to sign for Madrid, for PSG. But but they can't sign all the players, even if they have huge budgets. Every club has a limitation. So that's why, with regards to Camavinga, coming to Camavinga now, I would just like to say that his club cannot afford a new contract renewal with the kind of wage demands that he has. So if you know that Rene will rather sell than renew for 100K or 200K pounds a week, that's too much for a player of his age, and I think the club would rather sell him than renew his contract. So at the moment, I personally feel that there's a chance that he's sold, and that's why Manchester United are meeting him. But have United hit a snag with regards to Pogba's renewal? It does, because I personally feel that if United are going for a midfielder, and if it's Camavinga, it looks more like a Pogba replacement than a CDM replacement, because they're two different areas positionally, and I don't think Camavinga can slot in into that position. So if Pogba is indeed leaving, if the negotiations are not going as well as as they should, or maybe United are just being cautious with regards to just having a backup option in case Pogba decides to leave. I think, like you mentioned, it's early. Let's not, assume everything. It's in the very nascent stage. So let's just go with the
Yeah.
flow. Let's see how things go. The source reporting it is fantastic. I've followed Bohafsi for a very long time. He also follows us as I on the page. He's a fantastic person to interact with. He has possibly the best, news in terms of French players. So if he's reporting that United are willing to meet Camavinga, then there might be something in it.
Yeah, and Noah, do you think that, obviously we've kind of went on a tangent there, but we're talking about Camavinga now. Obviously it's in the news, but another guy who's in the news, I mean, obviously Jules Koundé is linked to Real Madrid. Do you believe that Real Madrid will possibly sign two defenders? Because obviously they have Eder Militao, but, do you think they'll actually settle for that? Or, can you actually see Rafa Varane's deal going through at United? I mean, I've given you a couple of questions there, but I just want to actually work it out in my head because, as we said, there's a lot going on at Real Madrid this summer. Do you think they'll overhaul, basically everywhere? Or, you think they'll just kind of move the guys out as the years go on, like Ramos this year, possibly Varane next year?
Yeah, it's one of those situations at Madrid. Obviously, everybody knows, for a while now that obviously with the whole Super League debacle, that their financial position is not very strong, and that this transfer window they still want to strengthen, but they're going to be lacking the resources that they usually possess in the transfer window. So they will have to make some sales. I think they are going to be looking would be one of them, especially considering for me that I think Real Madrid could comfortably achieve 50, 60 million price tag for Varane, with the qualities that he has and the reputation that he has. And I think with 1 year left on his contract, going on a free next year would really damage Madrid's chances of progressing and making the signings they want to. With regards to Jules Koundé, I think that obviously they are very highly interested in him. United, he was on their shortlist for centre back options, but obviously Manchester United are looking at other alternative like Varane and Paul Torres, which we'll get to. So Jules Koundé, I think he will be highly pursued by Real Madrid. With regards to the two centre backs, I'm not too sure. I mean, Eder Militao has been quite impressive for Real Madrid and as well as Brazil when he started. He's shown great qualities for them. Although, as you say, it's going to be incredibly difficult for him to replace or meet the expectations that Varane and Sergio Ramos have set at the club. So, could they sign two defenders? It's likely. Are they going to sell Rafael Varane? I think yes, because of their current financial struggles and the fact that they do want to bring in more players than Jules Koundé, potentially another centre back as well as a new forward to lead the line for them as well. So it's very interesting summer for Real Madrid as well as Manchester United as well, because obviously what they do.
I think Noah's cut out.
Will impact what Manchester United.
I know. Okay.
Yeah.
Back.
Yeah. Did it cut out? Did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's okay now.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think it will be such a difficult challenge. for Real Madrid, sorry, to sign 2 defenders. However, they do have the firepower to do it, and they also are offloading the wages of Rafa Varane and Ramos if it does happen. Quickly just to answer this, I don't think Sulemana will actually sign. I think it's kind of just Ajax are bringing him in, and I think his club, his Norwegian club, it escapes me the name of them, seem to be actually using United, as they always do, as a way to kind of boost the transfer fee up and get it done as quickly as possible. So no, I don't think there's any reliability, and possibly there is interest, but I can't see it happening. We're so invested in Jadon Sancho at the moment. I think we'll wait till that's done and then move on to other players elsewhere. So back to you, Akash, and I'm wanting to obviously hear about, as Noah said, he was talking about Paul Torres. What would you say are the chances of that happening? Because you obviously like your scales of 1 to 10 or 1 to 5, whatever, of the reliability, of it possibly happening. So I'd love to obviously hear what you think, because he was very good for Villarreal when we played them in the Europa League final as well.
My personal belief with regards to Pau Torres is that he wants to stay in Spain. So, from what I've read, as per reports in Spain, are that he's inclined to stay in Spain and he wants to play for a club, possibly the likes of Real Madrid. And I think Madrid would be more than happy to sign Pau Torres because they have a very good relationship with majority of the clubs in their own league. So Real Madrid will obviously use their influence to, they can do any sort of deal within their own league because they're extremely comfortable, and Spanish clubs are extremely understanding with regards to deals of these of this types, because they'll probably spread across the fee over 4 or 5 years. So I think Pau Torres is likely to stay in Spain. Possibly he could move to Madrid. I like I mentioned, if it's like a domino effect all across Europe. The moment the moves start happening, it's all going to happen with regards to Koundé, with regards to Rafael Varane. It just depends on which player decides to make the move first, and then it's all going to happen all across Europe. It's like going to be a domino effect. So that's what I personally feel. With regards to Manchester United, obviously, it's been mentioned that United are looking at him, but it has always been in the news that Rafael Varane is indeed the number one target. So if you know that Varane is target number one, United won't possibly go for the second option till they know for a fact that Varane is not willing to move. So as things stand, Varane is number one. Pau Torres possibly a second.
Oh, I mean, see with, Rafa Varane, he'd obviously be my number one for me. Elsewhere, obviously Paul Torres, he's a good player. I need to agree with you. I can't exactly see it happening. I think the possibility of us signing a centre back, a winger, and a midfielder as well, I think it is quite high. However, I just can't imagine Paul Torres playing in the Premier League either. I think, you just imagine him seeing out his career at like a team like Real Madrid or someone like that. He kind of plays like a Spanish centre back. He's like Aymeric Laporte. He's a great player. However, I think I'd put all my eggs into one basket for Rafa Varane, because he's a proven winner. He's amazing. And Noah, who would you obviously like to see? I've said my part. Akash has said his. Who would you like to see about the centre back position? Do you think it will be Paul Torres, or do you think it could possibly be someone else? Or in United terms, no one?
Well, yeah, that could obviously is Manchester United we're talking about, but I do feel that as you said, I feel like Manchester United will sign a centre back this summer. We've been linked to so many players in that position. I think that obviously it is high on their radar. As you mentioned, Pau Torres is one they have been looking at more so for his left-footed abilities. Alongside Harry Maguire, I think he would bring something new to the table, something that would allow the likes of Luke Shaw and potentially, the left defensive midfielder to advance more and feel more comfortable. So I feel like Pau Torres is up there. Obviously, for Rafael Varane, we've been talking about, Rafael Varane is, in my opinion, in the top three, if not top five, centre backs in the world. Obviously, his pedigree as a World Cup winner and the amount of Champions Leagues he's won with Real Madrid is outstanding. I think with a player as he left on his contract and being very affordable for Manchester United, I think he's going to be the top target, and I think he's probably the most likely as well with his interest reportedly on a move to England. So I think Manchester United will be in pole position to sign him. And I think he's probably the leading. Obviously, a centre back that's been completely out of the window that we're not talking about today. Could go for Jules Koundé. It all depends. I think we have to wait for Manchester United to sort out the situation with Jadon Sancho first before they're going to really start advancing negotiations for players like Rafael Varane or players like Camavinga and things like that. But I think Varane will probably be the top target for Manchester United, and one that they should get done if they want to seriously progress further to the likes of Manchester City. Because, as you said, Robbie, perfectly, he is a winner, and he's got bags of experience, bags of confidence, and he's just got that winning mentality that Manchester United need, and I think he'll be the perfect partner for Harry Maguire in the heart of the defence.
Yeah, I think Varane would be everyone's first choice. As we know, he's a great player. Obviously just comes down to the wages if we can get it done. Unless, like Man City, one of those type of teams come in and try and swip him, get him away. It's just a lot going on at the moment with Jadon Sancho. I just can't really imagine other things going on at the moment. He's priority. I mean, I said this last year and then I was wrong, but I do believe this year that he's definitely a priority. Obviously, we've heard the fee as well of 73 million plus 4, for such a talented Jadon Sancho, which is for me an absolute bargain in this market. I was expecting, about 100, 120 million for Jadon Sancho, but it kind of does seem as if he's been almost pushing the move. So yeah, I mean, we can quickly talk about this before we end up. About Jesse Lingard getting a new contract, and I mean, it's not came from very reliable sources from what I've seen so far. However, I take it with a pinch of salt because we re-signed Phil Jones. Hopefully, we've got the nerve and the backbone to actually move him on to a team like West Ham. Let him improve in his career rather than sitting on the bench and for United. For me, I would let him go. But what would you guys think? Akash, starting with you, obviously. You've watched a lot of Jesse Lingard. I just hope he moves on for his own sake. He's in 120k a week. He's on Akash apparently for his new deal.
I think he's been top draw for West Ham. I personally feel that he'll obviously be happy to leave the club and join elsewhere where he's been given regular football. But I think he respects Manchester United a lot, so he will not be pushing for a move. I personally feel that he'll speak to the manager. He'll say that he does want to change, but he will not put in a transfer request because that's just not Jesse Lingard. He loves the club too much. So personally, I do feel that there's a good chance he leaves, and United will obviously be looking for a good amount of fee. I think somewhere in the region of 25 million to 30 million should get the deal done. And I personally feel that it's just not West Ham that are behind him. There are a lot of clubs that are interested in Lingard after his performances in the recent months. It has garnered interest all across, and and I don't think there's anything to these reports regarding the renewal. I think they're not coming from extremely reliable sources. So, like you mentioned, take it with a pinch of salt. It's better to assume that he's likely to leave this summer. But like I said, I don't see him pushing for it.
Yeah, I agree with Akash. I think Jesse Lingard was I think it would be for everyone's interest to move on Jesse Lingard. I think obviously he's done fantastic on loan for West Ham. I don't think he would be a player that should be holding for such high wages and such a good valuation in the market on the bench. I feel like if United could sell him to West Ham or potentially another suitor, I've heard that Inter Milan have also shown expressed their interest in him. I feel like he would. I think it would just be good, for Manchester United to get him on, get some more finances to fund some other moves. I think it would be good for him to obviously. I know obviously Manchester United is his boyhood club, and obviously he's been here for many years. But I feel like as we saw with when he did get away and had a new fresh start at West Ham, he was playing so much better. He looked more confident. He just looked freer and just looked like he was enjoying himself playing football. And that's one thing I want, regardless of who anyone is playing for. I just want to see them enjoying playing football. And I think Jesse Lingard would probably be able to do that outside of Manchester United. I don't think he's going to get in as a regular starter with the likes of Bruno Fernandes if Paul Pogba's going to stay. I just don't think, and especially for signing Jadon Sancho, I don't think he's going to get the regular game time that he wants. So, for all the parties' best interests, I think it would be best to sell Jesse Lingard. Not offer him a new contract. I think those wages are a bit too high as well. If that is actually true, that 120, 130k a week being offered to Lingard, I think it would just be best to move him on this summer.
Yeah, it'd be an absolute waste. In the grand scheme of things, we could put that on players like Camavinga, possibly, on a player like Bissouma. Literally anywhere we can put that money. It goes along with Phil Jones as well. We just need to have a bit of backbone and be like to these players, look, you need to move on. End of the road for you. Obviously, yes, they've been good servants, but they're just not good enough. Simple as that. But anyway, guys, it's been great. Today, obviously speaking, especially about Jadon Sancho. I mean, hopefully Ahmed will be back on soon for a last minute podcast, just news about the fact that Jadon Sancho's deal has been agreed, because we'll go live as soon as that happens. Well, if it happens, I say that. If any of the deals happen, any of the big deals happen, but guys, obviously thanks for interacting throughout the show. And once again, Akash, thanks for joining. Every second Sunday you come on, which is great. Obviously, there's been a lot of news since the last time you were on, and obviously Noah, this is your first time on the Transfer Talk on the Sunday, a roundup show. So it was good, obviously, having you on, guys. If you haven't already, it'd be great if you could like, subscribe, and share it. On Twitter, and like it on YouTube as well. And yeah, thanks very much, guys.